Alright, 2-for-1 special. So today we're talking about foundries and mods, because it's easier just to lump them in together because they're both very simple concepts that are not that simple if you don't know what you're looking at. So obviously the foundry has literally everything you could have. First two tabs here at past the all are in progress, which shows you everything that you have built or are building. Second one is ready to build, tells you if you have the components needed for it, in which this does pop up. You can hover over them if you're on mouse and keyboard, and it'll tell you, like, alloy plate is found in Venus, Phobos, Ceres, etc. It tells you where you can basically find them. If I'm correct, it also tells you the argon timer, because argon crystals decay, and they can only be found in the void. Lets you see warframes you're building, all of that kind of stuff, and since you can sort by type, it'll list them next to their pieces. So for example, I have an entire set of Baruch here, so it'll show me the blueprint and then chassis, neuroptic systems. It does this with every frame. So it's really easy, so you can see, oh yeah, I have an entire thing of Hildren, etc. It does list the standard frames near them as well, but they are lower prioritized than the primes. Same thing with primaries. It'll show you that everything you need. Some primaries do require Orokin cells, usually if they're the prime variants, as you can see here. Some of them have weapon-specific drops that are needed, like the Ambassador needs the barrel, the stock, and the receiver. Those are found in different missions that you can usually find through the shop menu. That's a very good resource for finding it, because it'll tell you generally where the parts are, or if anything, you can also use a wiki, as there are a ton of weapons, like the Epitaph is another one you have to build, and etc. So that makes it very, very easy to, like the Gorgon Wraith is another one. Tells you how many of everything you need. Obviously some of these are very expensive, but this is how you're going to get a ton of your MR, is just building a ton of different weapons, farming out the primes for everything, like the Phantasma, Strun Wraith, Tenora, all of this kind of stuff. Some things obviously are a lot harder to get than others, like Strun Wraith is very difficult. There's a Bratton Vandal, which is exceedingly rare, so rare that I don't have a drop of it. And this basically just goes through everything. All melee, your different Arcwing weapons, which there is a high chance you're going to either have to buy from the store or buy off of people, because these are extremely hard to unlock and build on a solo playthrough. Ideally, you have at least one friend running opposite syndicates than you. As we talked about in the video, that you will always have some syndicates that are aggressive towards you regardless. So that's a very good way to get all of these. Companions, which do require you to have 2 slots, which it'll display here at the bottom, because you'll get the companion itself and their weapon, so that's always a good thing to keep in mind. Air support charges are found in the landing craft, as well as different pieces for the different ships, which have different effects. Appearances, and such. Gear is where you find all of your energy, ammo, and health restores, as well as ciphers, which are very, very good. Specters, which allow you to overwrite on a frame onto it for you, which will carry over, usually just using a buff frame or something like Octavia, or something that's very strong in CC control, so you can have your damage frame is a very good idea. I ran Wisp for a while because it drops in the moats, which helps in preservation. Obviously, there's different tiers. As you increase tiers, it will gain more levels. That's what these stars are indication of. Things like this, the Ancient Healer Specters, and all of these usually get dropped from either events or Syndicate Death Squads. That's another easy way. Or you can even just outright buy them off of it. There's also the rare ones like Fomorian Disruptors and Razorback Ciphers, which are event dependent. And this is pretty much the same for everything here. Mutilus Alad V, all your keys here, and then different pieces. Whenever you get a Tenant or a Kuva weapon, it will also appear here, typically at the top of your list. It's also very good to note that do not forget that your hounds also do drop in here when you clear Tenant Sisters. The bottom menu is a little easier to explain. I just pet my cat, so free cat pet. The bottom menu is a little bit easier to explain. There's different Menus, obviously, these are pretty self-explanatory. You hover over them and they'll tell you what it all is. It's also very good to note that you can select all of a mod. The way I do it is I get to click in my middle mouse button, and then you're able to either sell it for credits or sell it for endo. 9 times out of 10, just sell it for endo, because this is a harder resource to get than credits. Another good thing to note is that there is a transmute option, which does obviously cost credits. So if you're either trying to farm for a specific mod and you just have spare credits, you can just select 4 of any kind of mod. Obviously, the higher ranking a mod is, the better scaling it has, so there's a higher chance of getting something. So there's a high chance I just get another brown mod off of this, etc. You can also do this with ribbons. I don't know if I have a transmuter. Voltace, this stays. I do, but I'm not going to waste it because they're kind of rare. That you basically just throw all of these into, and then you just transmute it for a ribbon. Obviously, it's veiled. It doesn't automatically unlock. This is an entirely different system. I can talk about it right now, though. Every weapon has a ribbon disposition. Let me slide over here to the arsenal real quick. And where is a... My Tiburon actually has one. Ribbon disposition is found here. When you have a ribbon mod, it does scale according to what the weapon's usage rates are. Sometimes these numbers can be stupid, so it's always good to just check when you get a ribbon before you start rolling for different stats. Obviously, there are some stats that trump others, like I have a critical damage, chance, and damage to Rainier, but minus puncture. This is really good because it increases my threshold for critical chance and damage a lot. And that's not even stacking from the fact that this doesn't override other critical mods. Like, critical delay gets overridden, or point strike gets overridden by critical delay, so I can't have both of these mods. They're mutually exclusive. So ribbons basically allow you to spec into a specific type of build. For example, this one is a critical chance build, or even accentuate other aspects of a build. For example, my Prisma Oma, I run a pretty niche one on. I use electricity, critical chance, because this pushes over 135, even without the Blood Rush modifier, which gives critical chance on combo multiplier stacks. But I also have this on status chance because it's a pretty good priming weapon and it hits a lot. Using Sovereign Outcast, it has multi-hits and such like that. Also, Tennokai got added, but that's an entirely different can of worms. So this allowed me to spec pretty okay. It allowed me to augment for viral really easily, and then keep my electric bonus so I could use different stun, like tasers. So yeah, mods are decently easy. Foundry's decently easy. It's just like, when you're looking at it, do you understand it? But yeah, obviously Ayats and Treasures are also seen here. I obviously have a lot of them dotted around my ship, but these are typically just sold for endo. If you pick up stars, which are cyan and amber, you can just insert them into these and you'll get more endo for them, like that. It just increased from 400 to 750. But yeah, these are your bread and butters. Obviously, you can just click on something here, confirm, and you'll be able to either sell it, dissolve it, or even increase it. These costs do get multiplied. So there's things like Vitality is actually a very good example, where if I have one and I'm leveling it up, it goes 10, 30, 70, 150 to 310, 630, and then it just keeps basically doubling. So by the end, it hits 10,000 endo, 494,000 credits. You can obviously slowly level these up, and that is just as good, as long as you aren't full ranking and then putting yourself in a hole where you can't increase the levels of other things. So yeah, that's basically the basics of the mod table and the Foundry table. Obviously, when you're looking at this is decently easy to figure out. Like, how many you have is on the left side, how many you need is on the right side. There's obviously some pretty notorious weapons and frames with very bad necessary build things like 9,000 cryotic is a lot. That's 90 completed excavators without any boosters, so it does get a little bit wild. Nitrogen extract, the easiest way to do it is whenever, we can talk about this too, Nora's Mix is around, whenever like the battle pass, the Nightwave is around, the easiest thing to do is, as you get these, if you already have everything you need from here, I wasn't expecting this. Just buy it. Just buy nitrogen extract, because the actual drop rate for this is so low, it's not even worth it. If you need a catalyst or a reactor, these are also here. They do cost a little bit, but definitely every chance you get, just make sure to pick up nitrogen extract, because it is exceedingly rare and just not worth the time investment when you can just buy it off of Nightwave. So yeah. Nightwave also comes with challenges and such like that. You got some dailies like mark mods, kill enemies with melee, complete missions. Like, these are like generic ones here. But then there's like complete the Archon hunt, kill enemies with arc guns, the Oro worm from Duviri, like all of these. These three will never change, which are just general like play the game. But other ones will give you more, and also just have, they rotate in and out. Sometimes they get recovered as well. I don't have one here, unfortunately, but if you don't complete one, there's a chance that it gets recovered next week, unless they removed that. I'm not entirely sure. So yeah, that's the basics of those for you.